guys, so today we are going to be making a dessert that not only is perfect for your sweet tooth, like I've got an intense sweet tooth, it is yelling at me all day long, especially at nighttime. So I make this most nights, if we're being honest. So I'm gonna do a little series of recipes that have really common, easy ingredients that you can do whenever that sweet tooth comes a raging. So I wanted to do a little series of all of my favorite quarantine snacks because I know that it is totally fine to like gain weight and whatever during quarantine, like you've been seeing online. And I totally agree. However, I could totally eat a whole box of Glutino Oreo kind of cookies in, I don't know, every 24 hours. So this way I curb that a little bit and I still get my sweet tooth, but I'm watching myself as well. It'll just be a mini series of probably just my 3 favorite desserts that I have been enjoying over quarantine. Today we're doing the lava cake. I have also been eating a lot of paleo edible cookie dough, super duper good. And also, I'm trying to decide which one to do for the third one. I have these little like peanut butter ball things that look really good. I haven't tried them yet though. So let me know if that sounds good to you and we will do that too. This one's probably one of my favorites. We are doing the lava cake today. I'm pretty sure it's paleo. I don't know, but it's only 4 carbs and it doesn't have any refined sugar or anything in it. Super simple, gluten-free. And I mean, I add a little bit of ice cream on top, which you will see, but I mean, it's really fine by itself. It's just not as sweet without ice cream. Okay, so let's see. We're just gonna do this together today. I hope that you enjoy it. If you notice a quality difference, we invested in a Canon M50 and I am loving it. So let me know below if you notice a big difference. I am super happy with the quality of it and I'm excited to shoot more videos on this. So here we go. The first thing I need to tell you is this. This recipe is perfect for 2 people. I split it in half for 1 because Brandon doesn't really like it. It's not as sweet enough for him. So I just split it in half. I will put the original recipe below. The other important thing that you need to know is that you need one of these little cake pans or something small that you can put in the oven. So I just have these like mini cake pans and that's what I use for it. The recipe calls for using these like little cute pottery like dishes. I forget what they're called, but any like little this size that you can put in the oven. I assume if you have a mug that is okay to go in the oven, you could use that too, like a mug cake. It's basically what it is. So, I don't know. Here we go though. Make sure you watch till the end because I definitely do not follow this recipe like perfectly. So watch to get Danielle's version. And I also really help you use things that you probably already have at home. And because the recipe is pretty basic, but I don't have everything that it has, so maybe you don't either. The next thing I'm going to do is sniff my chocolate milk because I have literally been milking this. Milking it, get it? Okay, so the recipe calls for heavy whipping cream. I never have heavy whipping cream on hand, so I just use this chocolate almond milk. It is still good, way to go. It expired April 1st, but it's not really expired. You gotta watch those dates. I substitute this chocolate almond milk for the heavy whipping cream, and I also substitute whatever sweetener it calls for. I don't even know what that is, so I use the sugar and the raw cane sugar. And it's been working really well. I think honey would also work really well in this recipe. I haven't tried it yet, but I think it would be good. The recipe calls for separating the dry and wet ingredients. And, you know, I don't really know if it matters or not, but I do just to be safe. So we're going to do 1 egg. Oh dear, that's embarrassing. Get out of there. There we go. Gotta wash my hands. All right, we got our 1 egg. We're gonna need, I should have started with my dry ingredients. So 1 egg, that's wet. And then we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of cocoa. I think one of the reasons Brandon doesn't like this recipe is because the first night I made it is the only time he ever tried it, and I accidentally used dark cocoa, like dark chocolate, and it was very like bitter. It was not very sweet, so that's probably why he doesn't like it, and he just hasn't tried it again. But really, that's fine with me because more for me. Okay, so we got our cocoa. We're gonna do 1.5 tablespoons of this cane sugar, or so. I usually do a little bit more, like, oops, a little bit more stuck in there. Sorry for anybody who doesn't like my style of baking. I don't always go very precise. So we've got our cocoa. We've got our sweetener, and now we're gonna put some baking powder in. Now, the recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon if you are making just 1 serving. And that is what I'm doing. However, if you do 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, it makes the cake like much fluffier. And I like it like that, so that's what we're gonna do. So that's all your dry ingredients. Back to the wet ingredients. We've got our 1 egg. We're gonna need 1.5 teaspoons or so of the chocolate almond milk. 1.5-ish. All right, done with that thing. We're going to add a little bit of vanilla. And my friends, please do not settle for imitation vanilla because it is just not as good. I know it is way cheaper than pure vanilla, but you get the taste difference and it's not great. So now that I have my 2 bowls, I'm going to, this is like a Danielle little trick. I butter my cake pan, and the way I do it is I just stick 1 tablespoon or so of butter in here. Now I did 2 tablespoons in here today because that's just what was in the block, and more butter, the better. More butter, the better. So we're gonna stick this in the microwave for a minute, and I'm gonna stir up my dry ingredients and then my wet ingredients. I like to just kind of fold in the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients by pouring the wet ingredients into the middle and then just slowly letting the liquid grab more of the powder as I stir. So I'm just stirring it really lightly just in the middle. And as I'm going, more and more dry ingredients are going into the middle with it. I'm definitely not like a master baker or anything, but I think the reason that it works really well to slowly mix in the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients is so that you don't have any like clumps of dry ingredients in the wet ingredients. It helps distribute well, I think. Okay, so I've melted my butter. Okay, it's like really melty. See that? Okay, and I'm just gonna let it kind of roll around so it gets the sides all melty butter. All right, and make sure the bottom's all good. And then I still have a lot of butter in here because I put a lot of butter in here. And so I'm just gonna dump it in here for some extra moistness. Stir that in. And then dump it in the bowl. Make sure you get all the chocolate so you get all the goodness. All right, you're gonna need to put your oven on 350. The hardest part about making this is waiting the 12 minutes that it is in the oven.
One eternity later.
All right, I waited my 12 minutes and I'm gonna check if my cake is ready. So we want it to be moist, so it's okay if it's a little bit wet looking, but we don't want it to be like jiggly. And it looks pretty perfect. So I'm just gonna set it up here. And this is the fun part. All right, I'm gonna let that sit while I get my ice cream. This ice cream is one of our favorites. It is the Hudsonville Triple Peanut Butter Cup. It is so good. It's made here in the Midwest. So I just need to grab a bowl now, and I usually eat this with a spoon, partially because sometimes I take my cake out before it's all the way cooked because I just can't wait. And so it's pretty like saucy. I'm gonna use the spoon to just kind of help me out here. Kind of loosen up the edges. All right, and then hopefully none of it sticks in there. All right, then I'm gonna get my cake here and dump it in. And a lot of it stuck on the bottom, but that's okay. We are not picky. Got my yummy cake in. Can't really see it, can you? And then this is my favorite part because the ice cream gets so melty and just perfect over the hot cake. So I'm kind of running out of ice cream, unfortunately. Just gonna put some in there. You can see it. It's steaming, maybe, maybe not. All right. I like to just let it sit there for just like 30 seconds while the ice cream kind of melts over the cake. And then it is so, if you've ever been to Portillo's in Chicago or Chicago area, they have a cake shake where it's like a milkshake, but there's a piece of chocolate cake at the bottom. It's like that. And I'm not even kidding because it's like the milky ice cream and then little crumbles of cake. It's so good. So this is the lava cake. See if you can see the steam coming off of it a little bit. But it is so good. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. I will link the recipe, the original recipe, below, but feel free to find some different substitutions and let me know what works for you. All right, I love you lots. Bye.